It's called organization.
Okay, so we're getting ready to start. I called Cal and asked him if he wanted us to start the meeting. He says, no, either Eleanor or I, and Ellen decided I should do it. So yeah, should we just go ahead and I guess Adriana is getting the four-way test for us.
Oh, Fred Nichols
Yeah.
is coming. This is a good audience.
Yeah, good.
We've got as many people
We got a
on
great
screen
guest,
as
man.
we are.
Hell.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you want me to do with it?
Okay, I tell you what, why don't you, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
We're not usually kind of like this.
Yeah.
You want to lead us in the pledge, Martha?
Sure. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Outstanding. Now, I don't know how many of you could actually see the four-way test here.
Well, you have to memorize it?
Stand around it, yeah.
All right,
No.
okay, got it?
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Yay, whoopee.
Got through that.
Thank you, Adriana. Okay, so, got quite a few people on Zoom, it looks like, Matt, right?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Hey, there's Tony Camera, whoa.
Hey, Tony, all the
So for everyone on Zoom that hasn't seen the chat, I have the TV muted because there would definitely be horrible audio feedback for y'all if I unmuted it without muting this. So just type in the chat or raise your hand if your webcam's on, if you want me to mute the microphone and unmute the TV.
Cool.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, without further ado, we've got a wonderful guest this morning. Chief Madison, the Town of Orange Police Department, and it's great to have you, Chief, and why don't you take it from here?
All right.
Okay.
Where's the best place for him to be?
Anywhere. So
Okay.
this camera is the one that's.
That's the audio
Okay.
camera.
Yeah.
Why don't we turn it around just a little?
Would he be able to just sit right near the mic?
If he wants to, that's
It's
totally
fine.
up to you.
Okay,
I'm comfortable standing now if you don't want me to sit.
whatever you want.
Can you hear me okay with the mask? My name's Chief Kiline Madison. I was the deputy chief for Jim Fenwick before he retired. I got right at 20 years experience in. I've done majority of my career in Culpeper County. Starting off young in law enforcement. Originally got assigned to a street crimes unit that handled high profile cases to include homicide, narcotics, and so on. From there, I got promoted to a detective, at which point I started the narcotics division of Culpeper. I've been sworn with the state police, DEA, FBI, and multiple other jurisdictions. I enjoyed my time there. It came to a point where I wanted to come a little closer to home, and I wound up applying for the Town of Orange Police Department. I was originally going to go back to Culpeper at some point, but I totally fell in love here. I plan on staying here until retirement. I'm still young. I'm only 41, so I got some years to go. Seen a lot, done a lot, dealt with a lot of situations here in Orange also, but Orange is, for the most part, a peaceful, happy little town. I feel like we got a great department of people with the same mindset that I have, and that's that we work for the people of this community. I got a great deputy chief, Rebecca Moody. She has rated 20 years in, and she's been employed with the Town of Orange her whole career. She's not here today, but she's a great asset, and we got others around us that is great assets as well. I don't plan on making major changes here in Orange as far as how we police, because I feel if it ain't broken, you don't fix it. And I feel like we have a good rapport with their community, and I'm always an open door type policy where if someone has an issue, they're more than happy to, or more than free to come talk to me about it. If you all got any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them.
I do. Well, I was just gonna ask about investigations on the drug side of things and what kind of caseload you have.
Here in Orange,
Yeah, in the town of Orange with drugs.
with drugs, it's like anywhere else. I would say Orange isn't as bad as what I'm used to, but we do have a drug issue. I'm not gonna say we're overrun with it because we're like any other community, you know, dealing with COVID and everything else. When people get boxed up, they kind of get stir crazy, and it causes all kind of issues. Sometimes dealing with narcotics is mental health will be connected to it as well. Because who wakes up and say they're gonna be an addict that day, you know, or just an addict, period. So I would say, yes, that's something that I do want to address while I'm here, is putting somebody in place to focus on drug issues alone. That's my specialty. So that's something that I could say, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what will benefit the town. And it's all about preventing senseless deaths. You know, one case that stands out to me particularly, there in town, we had a sister and brother who overdosed, and the mother lost both of her children that night. Both actually passed away. They were probably 20 feet from one another.
Wow.
So think about that as a parent, to come home and find both your only two children, daughter and son, both deceased from a heroin overdose. That's what I want to prevent.
Yeah.
You know, those lives matter. Sad things, bad things happen to good people. You know, when we talk about marijuana and the use now, how, you know, stuff that I have to deal with today, I never thought that I would have to deal with it in my career. Yeah. But you gotta learn to police even the laws that you don't 100% agree with. I think marijuana's a gateway, but I also think alcohol is a gateway. Yeah. But alcohol is illegal and have been, you know. So yeah, it's all about prevention and getting people to understand. Even when you're dealing with overdoses, the law kind of protects those people who have actually overdosed. You know, you're not there to charge them, you're there to save their life. Yeah. A couple of days ago, we had a guy out here locally in town stop breathing due to an overdose, and myself and several other officers performed CPR on him. And you know, if we hadn't got the phone call, then he wouldn't have never had his life saved. But due to training for the officers, you know, we administered Narcan, and we done CPR on him for probably over 20 minutes. And because of that, that saved his life. So it's that type of, having that type of knowledge in place. So not only prevention, but be able to deal with the situation if it do arise.
But Chief, I got a question. In a case like that, or any case actually of somebody, you know, is there some kind of rehabilitation program, or what can you do with, because I know a lot of these guys, you know, they just never stop.
There's really no real answer for that. We have, there's programs in place. There's people in place. What I've noticed from the law enforcement side, if that person isn't screaming at that moment that they're, you know, hey, I'm gonna take my own life, then kind of they keep kind of just falling back and back and back.
Yeah.
So there's certain language got to happen, but yeah, there's programs in place.
Yeah.
There's people that genuinely care, and then some people get frustrated because you'll help somebody and they'll fall right back into the cycle. You know.
Yeah.
They'll stay clean for a week or two, and then you see them just turn out again.
Yeah.
So it can get frustrating, but the object is not to give up on them.
Yeah.
keep pushing forward and keep on giving them whatever resources available. And the resources change daily, so.
Yeah, yeah. And what, is there like a Narcotics Anonymous meeting in Orange or anything like that?
We do have we have a meeting, I can't remember the name of it. I've made a couple of them. It was made up of, a lot of outside agencies. You have some, pastors and, like I said, you got groups of people who genuinely is in it to help people.
Yeah.
I know I have a contact with, Rapidan, and, I've been able to source it out. You know, people who saying, hey, I need help. There was a lady here in the town, I'm not gonna say her name, she's an alcoholic, and I met her early on.
Yeah.
And, with me talking to her family and reaching out to outside agencies, we were able to get her into a long-term facility, so I'm hoping that does something for her.
Well, you know, there is well, I'll be honest, I've been in AA for over 45 years, okay? And we do have a meeting in Orange every day, every Monday to Friday.
Right.
At St. Thomas Church, 12:30 to 1:30, you know, sort of midday. And we do have new people coming in
Right.
pretty regularly. But I don't know that, and I'll check around. I'm pretty sure that there are NA meetings also
Right.
around, but I don't know of anything in Orange. Maybe got to start.
There's some around, but there's still not one in Orange.
Yeah.
That I can identify. I keep hearing there's an NA, and nobody has been able to really say, this is where it is. I'm guessing it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Well,
But there are more programs now.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, glad to hear that. Well,
I was also, I don't want to, if there's anybody else with questions, I don't want to be bombarding this, but the distinction between the county and the town, where are the lines in your jurisdiction, and you know, how does that work out?
So if you're looking, well, the county line here at Route 20 is right there near the bus garage, right there in that area. On 15 is just past Tractor Supply, going towards Gordonsville. But it really, you know, if the issue arises and say the county has something out at, say, Williams Lawn Care, we're gonna respond. We got, you know, they would ask for assistance. We would ask for assistance if something arises to the point of needing help. And if you're there, you're not gonna ignore it, you know. If I was at AMCO in Gordonsville and somebody fell out in front of me, I'm gonna render aid because that's just what we do. So it works out. It's a joint effort.
Yeah.
The sheriff has told me multiple times that anything I need, he's willing to help me out. Every locality around, we have a very good work relation, and I want to build it and make it better. You know, I've told the sheriff that, and I've told Gordonsville that if they need anything, you know, they offer it with, like, say, training. They've offered that if we're short and we don't have an instructor or something specific, if they have it, they're willing to help. Even Culpeper have reached out, but you know, as you know, I got a very good work relation with Culpeper County as well. So
when you call 911, whoever's on the receiving end of the call determines how they're going to direct the.
Right, when you call 911, it is divided. Like if the call comes from the center of town, we obviously will be dispatched. Say if all the officers are tied up, if we're tied up on an auto accident or something, to where we can't respond, then they would then dispatch a deputy. Depending on the nature of it, sometimes we might leave whatever it is we're working on and respond to the more serious event. So if it's somebody's not breathing and we're on an auto accident or a traffic stop, the officer will quickly clear out and go handle the more important of the two, and that's to preserve life.
Yeah, I understand that the sheriff can make an arrest or whatever, anywhere in town or out of
Right.
town. It's all within the county.
They have jurisdiction throughout the whole county of Orange, whereas we have jurisdiction in the town.
Yeah.
So if we were to go out, say, we work the events at Mount Pilgrim, I've never, Felon have never asked for arrest authority, because technically we're outside of their jurisdiction. But if something arises, we will detain and we will call the sheriff's office to come handle it. So, yeah, it doesn't take our power away, it limits. I would say it makes it less complicated versus, having the base will be graced by the sheriff to be able to arrest somebody that day outside of your jurisdiction. Any questions on the computer?
I don't see any. I did type though that it's supposed.
Oh, here we go, big one.
Good morning, everyone. Chief Madison, it's nice to meet you. This is from Charlotte Cole. It's nice to meet you virtually and look forward to doing so in person soon. As you may know, I manage the Main Street program at Orange. 2 of my 4 committees have identified walkability as a major goal for their work in the coming year. From a public safety perspective, would you offer some thoughts on creating a walkable community? Thank you.
Okay. As far as area,
You want to unmute?
Hey, Chief, this is Charlotte Cole. Did it make sense what I wrote?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't,
So the easiest way I could answer that is if you come up with a route basically that you want to walk, we can look at it then and tell you what any issues that we would have with it, or any challenges that it would pose. You trying to go for a longer type like tour around the town, or you trying to keep it like local to Main Street, or?
Well, our district now goes from the Silk Mill pretty much down to D&J Thrift, and then from over on Bird Street over to Caroline. And so within that footprint, 2 of my committees, the Economic Vitality and the Design Committee, are looking at the results of our retail study that took place this past summer, and have identified walkability, and it's kind of like the big W. We haven't drilled down yet into exactly what that's going to mean for us, but they've mentioned several times the public safety piece and how that making people feel safe and assured, whether it's crossing the major intersections or just being in areas that may not be as heavily populated,
Right.
things that they can learn and be aware of as they go about doing their work. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we would definitely do anything in our power to compensate you on the walk. We would definitely try to have some police presence there.
Randy.
This is the Orange Police Department.
People tend to respect the pedestrians. I don't know if you noticed a bunch of their little pedestrian signs throughout town. That was a big Jim Fenwick thing when he was here, is making sure those crosswalks were properly marked, and but stuff as small as that, you let us know what you need and we'll make it happen. But I do suggest that we target the business areas of town and kind of show people what we have to offer. And the town of Orange is a pretty little town, We have more than people realize, and getting them to see that, even on foot or in a vehicle, would be a great thing.
I agree, sir, and thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I have a question here from Barry Barr, or question and a comment. Thank you for your support of the Christmas parade. Could Rotary help in any way with other events or public education?
Oh.
Think about
I
that.
will have to think on it, but I'm sure. You know, sometimes there's some stuff that come up that sometimes we're limited with manpower and getting it done, so. But it's kind of like, I would have to really sit down and think about it. As far as like special events, for the most part, we got everything covered that I can think of on top of my head. The parades always pose a bit of a challenge for us. It's normally a time of year where we're a little short, and everybody under the sun is coming out for that event. So we've always in the past been able to take what we got and make it work. And, you know, we were talking about other agencies stepping up and helping. The sheriff office have always been on board to give us, you know, 2 to 3 deputies so we can make it work.
So I would, Chief, is sort of related to the walkability. I ride a bike, and you know, it's probably impossible to think of like bike lanes everywhere. But there are some, you know, well, like if I'm going north on 15, right? I mean, I ride on the sidewalk. I don't know if that's against the law or whatever. I skip pedestrian there, I've been out of the way. But, and even that though, you can't, there's not a continuous sidewalk all the way, you know, to the silk mill.
Right.
From, you know, downtown, and, you know, and I don't know, you know, again, I don't know if like the state has to get involved because it's a state highway or whatever. I don't know how all that jurisdiction works.
I know I can't tell you in detail, but I do know the town have been talking about different sidewalk projects throughout the town of Orange, and I think some of that will.
Okay, are you talking, Ray, are you talking specifically about the section of sidewalk that's there in front of salvage rights in that area?
Before you, well, that's
moving
part
up,
of it, yeah.
Moving up to where it joins the, at Taco Bell, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, yeah.
We got that out to bed, it's been a big deal with engineer studies. When we do the sidewalks, unfortunately, we have to do engineering studies and everything to go with it.
Yeah.
There's just been a lot of kickback with that. We've had prices go up, unbelievable. But yes, that is our first priority. We are really sorry that we haven't been able to get that done yet.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing for us because we see so many people who have to get out in the street there at Madison Road. And I'm sure the chief has seen that also. So we're trying, that's a footpath for accessibility to Food Lion and the stores up there. So we're trying to do that. And then we're working on Spicer's Mill for one, and then we're moving up into behind the nursing home in that area. So we are trying, and we're working on repairing also the ones that we've got. It's just the logistics right now, and unfortunately, like everything else, the inflationary price of things has just skyrocketed. So we are trying, but that is a priority there, most definitely.
Oh, that's good to know.
Most definitely. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're fine. Thanks for helping me out because I've been sitting in some of the you know, the updated meetings with the town with Mr. Woods, and he's telling me a lot of this when I try to retain stuff that is police related, you know.
Right.
I care about the sidewalks too, but you know, some stuff kind of sticks out better to me, and I grab hold of it a little better. So yeah, like I said, I know there's sidewalk issues, but I wouldn't be able to tell you everywhere. But I know the town's aware and they're working on it.
Yeah.
Well, like Mayor Rhoda said, you know, I watched the price of concrete double in price. So, you know, we got a quote for one thing, and then your labor costs go up, and then the material price double. So you're looking at, you know, 2.5 times more than what the quote was a year ago. So.
I just have a comment, for those in the room that don't know or wouldn't know, my agency, DSS, works directly with Chief Kiline and all of his folks on a daily basis. And I just want to thank you, Chief, for everything you've done, even before being in this position. I can remember when I first got to Orange DSS like 4 years ago, we had very bad case with one of our kiddos, and that was my first interaction with, at the time, I guess you were investigator, Kiline?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Either that or the deputy chief.
But ever since day one of interacting with Chief, he has been amazing. And as you can tell, he has a very distinct voice. So when you hear his voice, it's like, oh, you know, Chief's got it. So when I heard that you were appointed as Chief, and the rest of my staff was just
Thank you.
ecstatic. So congratulations on that. And we're just really blessed to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
One of the concerns I've heard from families is that there isn't enough for kids to do in the town. And this kind of segues into the question about gangs and whether gangs are an issue in Orange.
They used to be more of an issue. I don't think it's as big as it was. You're gonna always have the little homegrown stuff, you know, kids look at stuff on the internet and they want to be part of it, and then they start claiming upset or, you know, say that I'm part of something, and that can get out of control really quick.
Yeah.
But I would say probably mid-2000s it was more dominant, you know. Orange had their share of it. But I think the Commonwealth and the law enforcement at the time did a good job with classifying people and getting the message out, with zero tolerance. They're not gonna deal with it. So, yeah, we had a homicide, I wanna say a couple months back, where a guy was killed here in Orange out in the county. Didn't involve the town of Orange, however, we did get the vehicle stopped, so, you know, their paths cross with things that's going on rather here or there. But the guy who was charged with the incident, he at one time was labeled a gang member back when he was a juvenile. So that kind of followed him through his career. That had nothing to do with the incident, but classifying people and dealing with it then can prevent something bigger down the road, you know, if you can change that mindset that there's a safer way. But gangs isn't as big of a problem as they used to be. Yeah.
And you've got the high school in your jurisdiction.
Yes, ma'am.
So Sherry, I guess you would be experienced with what kind of troubles they might have at the high school, and how those get handled between the police and the administration in the schools.
Well, you know, we do have SROs and then that are employed by the school system and employed by the sheriff's department, but I think we work well with the town as well. It gets to a point which we do threat assessment with kids and stuff, and so it is a level as to what you think you need to call actual law enforcement in. You know, right now we have a bunch of rambunctious teenagers who want to flex their muscles and also realize that they are very immature. And so, but far as I would say gang involvement, we really don't have at the high school, or at least I'm not aware at this time that we have it.
It have really toned down. I was a gang specialist with Culpeper. And when I was back years ago with street crime dealing, that was part of my job description, was to deal with the local gangs. And we had a lot of what we called hybrid gangs, and the issue was Culpeper and Orange, the two gangs going back and forth. We don't have that now. It's almost zeroed out. You know, you'll have a stray here and there, but for the most part, I'm confident to say that gangs are not. Right, you got nothing. You got kids that ain't really figured life out yet. You know?
I'm sure.
So
I'm sure. Yeah.
So I guess with all three of you, I mean, you'd be exposed to this, but having things for kids to do, particularly high school kids, what does the town or the schools, in order to provide recreational activities? I know we have Parks and Rec, and this is maybe a question for where Rotary might be helpful, is being able to provide any or whether there's playgrounds that are needed or just more things for kids to do. I mean, it's too bad we don't have a YMCA in Orange or some sort of recreational facility that's open to the public.
I think there might be talks of a potential future facility, but that's above my pay grade. But I think, I don't want to speak for the county, but I think we might see something more recreational through the rec department in the future.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big issue through the county for quite some time, is that, you know, while you have a certain age limit or happy with going to the park or
Right.
doing whatever, but once you hit middle school and high school, there's been a lack of activities for these young people to be involved. Other than outside of school sports or arts or whatever. But I think that's been a long time problem of the county, and that, you know, I think people have tried to come up with some viable solutions for quite some time on that, you know, as to what to do to
remedy the
right,
situation.
to remedy that situation and to give the young people something to do. You know, we don't have a theater, we don't, you know, and I by no means saying that that's, you know, it's just where we are in our community, and I love this
Right.
community.
It's almost like you gotta pick up from the little guys.
Yes.
Because so you just offer some teenagers a basketball court.
Yeah,
We still gotta go and police that area, you know what I'm saying? If they hadn't been given the steps as a child, they're not gonna know how to deal with what they got now as a young adult, basically. And if it goes unchecked, then it's just gonna create another, you know, we'll get the vandalisms or, you know, the fights or, so that I'm not saying don't do it, but it gives us another area to have to police as well. But if you can start at grade school and give them something all the way through, then that is that will benefit the situation, you know, versus again, trying to teach them how to deal with it as a young adult, just being given to them after they picked up so many bad habits as a young child.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know like Boy Scouts have kind of
Right.
run their course, there's hardly anything left there.
Yeah, you don't see that push anymore where kids are wanting to do it.
No.
I tried to get my kids, I got 3 boys and nobody wanted to be a Boy Scout, none of my daughters wanted to be Girl Scouts. So you kind of gotta, you know, as a parent, figure out what's the trend for that time, you know? And you kind of make that available for your kid, you know? So to keep them out of trouble, let them know you have a support system at home. And that's some of the issues, and I'm not trying to tell people how to parent, but they need a good support system all the way through adulthood, and it will change things as well, you know. So yeah, that's what I've done for my kids. I kind of figure out, hey, well, what do y'all want to do today, you know? And they keep daddy young, because it's hard keeping up with them. So
I think some of our faith-based organizations help pick up the slack in that aspect too.
right.
Like,
Boys and Girls Club.
yes, and Wayne Q, and they do open gym on Sundays and stuff, and then the school works with them. I think our faith-based organizations, which we have like 80-some churches in the county,
Right.
a lot of those help kind of fill the gaps. Doesn't meet the need completely, of course, but it definitely helps.
Yeah.
And the need changes with the interest too, that's.
Right.
Sometimes that's hard to continue something that, I know people have started projects in the county for youth and they've sort of just, you know, filtered out and gone. And I think it comes with the population interest of what they want to do.
Right.
And that's something that when you look and develop, you're gonna have to find something that's long lasting.
Yeah.
And that's important because each thing you do changes, and unfortunately it does go back to a dollar mark. You've got to change, you've got to do this. And you know, some of the things that you need to look at is, if we do this, how can it be changed into that?
Yeah.
So things need to have multi-purposes, they need to be flexible in the facility that you've got in the field, in the area. It's got to be able to change with what the population wants at that time. And your pickleball is very, very popular right now, but what, racquetball was really popular until racquetball courts and they collect the dust now. So you have to make sure you're going to be able to keep up with what people need, because if you have that, they're gonna participate, and they're gonna do the thing, you know, they're gonna enjoy it. And enjoyment is part of keeping yourself busy. You want to go do it. So hopefully when we do look at things, those are the things we're gonna have to think about.
Yeah.
Could I say something from the town, if you don't mind? I'm sorry to pull this down, because I'm muffling this big
Yeah.
mess. Chief, we are very, very happy to have you with us, in the town. I have, spoken with the chief myself, you know, I've known him since he's been here. The thing that I've noticed is he's a very credible individual. He understands that people are people. I do not see him as a, pardon the expression, bullying police chief. I see him as an understanding police chief who does enforce the law. That's important. Laws are there to be enforced. But I think there is a side of him that understands why people do things they do. And that's very important, because like he said, even with your drug situation, if you can understand that, more than likely, you can help that from happening again for repeat incidents. So I see that in you understanding the human quality of what happens when the law is broken. I do understand you respect the law, then when you will enforce it, and we expect to do that, and that's wonderful. We do need that. So on behalf of myself and the town, I want to thank you for taking time this morning, especially after a snow event and everything else, to come and speak to all of us virtually and here in this room. And I know that you're going to be a great asset for us.
Thank you.
Great.
Camera ready.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna sneak out.
All right. Thank you.
Help you and.
Martha, you, good, you're gonna present.
All right. See you around.
So I have a little something for you. When we had speakers come, we did them with the sweet gifts, so you can use this and keep it on your desk, and hopefully you'll enjoy using it in some capacity.
Yeah.
Orange juice cans or whatever.
Okay, great.
Hang on now, back up.
Oh, back up.
Yeah, here we go.
I'll take a hug from a big guy.
Yeah.
We'd like you to look at us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's why you
Yeah.
have to keep their children. They're sorry. They put them in their warm sleeve.
Oh, yeah, I know. Right? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you all around.
Oh, yes, you will.
Thank you.
I guess one announcement is to let people know that for our 5th Tuesday in March,
Okay.
it was on the calendar as meeting somebody to adopt that day. We have Jess Cifazera of Painted Orange is going to host us for 5th Tuesday then.
Okay.
And we'll just do our usual of bringing our own appetizers, and then the club will supply all the beverages, of course.
Everybody got my number.
But again, it'll be 5th Tuesday of March as a home. So wanted you to all know that.
At what time?
Usual 5:30 to 8 p.m. And the last 5th Tuesday of our Rotary year is at Adriana's. So she's already taken that.
717-287.
And then just a reminder to everybody about our fundraiser. I don't know, is Cal on the phone?
You take it easy.
Cal's not there, okay. All right, well, we do have the fundraiser, I believe that's April 9th, is that correct? Saturday, April 9th for the fundraiser at Broughton Farm. And then we're doing a cleanup, a barn cleanup on April 2nd.
Yeah.
And Mark's
Great. Yeah, I think it'll. And the ones who actually.
Organize the cleanup, yeah. So I guess that does it for our online folks. Are there any questions?
Right.
it's the same principles.
Okay, because it's over now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Every
Great.
Friday, St. Thomas Church, we have the dump place, so.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like everybody had a good,
Okay.
good connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about it.
Thanks for coming, Rick.
I know about it.
Everybody does.
He's the only one on the team.
Yeah.
And that fifth Tuesday was.
Still younger than me.
Okay.
You all take it easy. Thank you.